Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
I'm Mike.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. And today we're going to review Lunar Rush. Now, Lunar Rush I learned about at Origins last year, 2022. Demoed it with Dan. And then we had the opportunity to film a demo of it in our booth at Gen Con. There is a video for that. And then Bob liked it so much, he ran over the next day to the Dead Alive games booth and bought a deluxe version.
Yes.
So it's like a Kickstarter deluxe, right?
Yeah. As soon as I saw like the bits and the dual layer boards and everything, and they said that this is the Kickstarter deluxe, I was like, that's the copy I want.
Yeah, and I knew that you were gonna like this game.
Yeah.
That's
what
really
you should sit on this demo, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But guys, Spencer.
Yeah.
Bob and Spencer are going to kind of combo the teach on this real quick. We're going to run through how to play it. But Spencer, you're going to start with the Earth phase?
Yeah, so this game takes place in 3 major phases: the Earth phase, the Moon phase, and the Market phase. And you'll even notice on the board we have an Earth side and a Moon side right there.
Mm-hmm.
So your resources that you're going to need, if you're on the Earth phase, you're only going to need ones on the Earth side. So the first thing everyone's going to do is choose your routes. And you'll notice on the board we have these rectangles, and everyone has their ships. Well, you're going to try to choose which ones are going to go from Earth and which ones are going to come back from the Moon. And you're doing that by bidding. You have a deck of cards that's 1 through 5. Here you go. So a deck of cards that's 1 through 5. And you're bidding your points. So everyone's actually starting at 25 points. So you have something to lose. Giga credits. Thank you very much.
Yep. 25
giga credits, because we're a capitalist society. And so everyone is going to secretly choose one and then reveal at the same time. So we have a 1 and a 5. So you go down by 1 and you go down by 5. Now we get to choose the order. And then because of that, Bob gets to choose first. Now he can choose to do either the Earth or the Moon. Doesn't matter which one he chooses first. And if, for instance, he chooses Moon, someone might get 2 Earth ones. So yeah, it's any combination. But typically you're going to want to have some Earth ones in the beginning.
Yeah, usually we're told at the beginning people are trying to get stuff from the Earth up to the Moon. And at the end, you might want 2 moons to try to get all your resources you've harvested down to sell in the market phase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so you put one here, and
I would get first dibs.
You would get first dibs. So
I like the medium pace.
Yeah, medium.
There we go.
So here's the thing: these routes, and you'll see they have lines going from place to place, have different advantages and disadvantages. The green ones, the fast 1 and 2, they will go immediately that turn. So whatever you load up from the Earth, one of these goods, and they are free when they're coming from Earth, you'll get it that turn. You'll get to use it up on your moon base. But if you chose the medium one, instead of getting only 2 items you can put in, the medium one will take an extra turn, but you'll get 5 items you can put in there. And the slow one will get 9 items. You can also bring up your astronauts down there. And so that's how you get more astronauts up to the moon. As long as you can feed them. That's a important thing that we'll get over later. And then we're going to choose a down route. And you choose that now. So he chose the fast one. And again, on the fast one, you can only take 1, only 3 or 7. So after you've chosen those and you've paid for these, we will load up the ships.
Yes.
So all of these little guys, these are your resources. These are the different tech things, the blue ones and the red ones. And they are 1 space each. A human is 1 space each, but these big white ones are 2 spaces each. So if you're going fast, you can only put a big white one on there if that's what you really, really need. No, not yet. That's coming back.
Oh, I'm early.
Oh, Mike.
And once you have done that,
once you've loaded your ships, with Mike, the load up was fine.
Yeah.
I said I'd probably put an astronaut on my ship. So give me an astronaut.
Yes,
So we have 5, so that makes 5. Perfect. Wrong one. There you go.
So now we'll move ships that are coming up from Earth.
Yep.
So let's say we had it like this. We have some ships that are already moving from the slow track. The slow track takes 3 turns to get there. The medium track will just move up to the next one. The fast track makes it. And it may be, because you've timed it well, that you get 3 ships come in at once.
Yep.
Then you're going to have a really good turn.
Yes.
And after that, everything unloads into your storage, and you start the moon phase.
Yeah. So once everything has landed and you've collected resources, which we would have some resources on our planet. One of the neat things about there is, so you have all your resources in the ×1. You also have a ×2 resource. That just means that's just a way to save like pieces, right? So it's like, oh, if I have 2 of these, I'm going to slide it over here. I'm going to use one of them. I'll slide it over here. And that's just a way to kind of shorthand that you've got multiple pieces of it. But then it's just going to become like an action selection place with your workers that you have on the moon here. So if you notice, inside each of your little worker placement spots, there's a cost at the bottom. Those are upgrade costs. Now, it doesn't cost an action to upgrade. You just got to spend the resources, and then you're going to find the upgrade card that you have available to you, and you're going to slot that appropriate card into the spot where it goes. And that will give you like new worker placement spots that are more powerful and whatnot, and you go from there. But let's say like, oh, I'm going to place my worker here and gain some extra greenage. That's what you're going to use to feed your people at the end of the moon phase. But then you can also move some people down here and gain some energy. And then I'm going to try to upgrade something. So this is going to take, I didn't do this very well, but I'll use this guy here, one of these, and an energy, and I'm going to upgrade my life support. So I will find my life support card, which is in here somewhere. Boom. And that space that you use is still considered occupied, but now there's another spot there I can go to get 3 more of those leaves. So that way I can feed my guy who's coming up in future turns. But then once you've taken all your actions and stuff here, which there's a lot of combination that can be going, like, I'm going to put a guy here, get some blue cubes, use those blue cubes to make this thing over here, use that resource to make something else, and you can really kind of combo how everything works together. And then after that, there's an optional Moon Wonders that you can get, which we don't have set up here yet, but that's another module that you can add into the deck, into the game itself. And then these are the gold cards that you can get. Yeah, these are super like shiny and fancy.
They're pretty.
And they're expensive. There's a lot of big costs at the bottom there, but it gives you a extra worker spot outside your normal moon base where you could send people to do 25 giga credits, which is a ton.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of giga credits.
Yeah, very powerful.
Yeah. So then once you've done producing and manufacturing, you're going to be doing a lot of ore mining and shard mining, which are these resources that you get off the moon here. Mm-hmm. And then if you have your advanced refineries and manufacturers made, you can refine those into like even nicer looking pieces, like actual like crystals or bars of gold or whatnot. Once that's all done, you're going to take these resources that you want to get rid of and load up your appropriate ship with them. And let's say Spencer is probably trying to sell some of these guys here. And then once you've loaded up your moon boats, they are going to take off to go back towards the Earth. And they're going to go in a certain order. That Tim is messing up right now. So the Earth spaceport is listed right here underneath there. And this is important because that's going to be who sells what in what order. True. And the price is going to fluctuate accordingly. So the first one would be the fast one, which goes first. There is no fast 2 because that's only for a 4-player game. And then the medium ship, if there was one ready to land, it would land, but this one would technically just move forward the one space. And then the slow one. But if there were other ships, they would be moved here accordingly. Once that's done, you're going to start selling them in this order. So the first thing to sell is going to be this gem. You're going to find the sale here, 38. So you're going to gain 38 giga credits, and then that is going to slide down one slot. So now the next person is going to get 42. This is a fluctuating market on this one. Some of them, they go straight down all the time. Some of them, they fluctuate. There's a bunch of these different ones, so it kind of adds some variety and timing as to when you want to sell what and how many. So that's super interesting.
Yes.
And then once all that is done, and if it goes down too far, there's like a reset that'll happen at the end of the round where the prices will kind of like reset a little bit depending on how many were sold that turn. All those ships go back to the appropriate people, and then the round marker moves. Everybody bids on a new speed.
But you're missing the one that you had last time.
It's right. So the one I used last time is still being occupied because that's going to be tiebreaker. So you ready, Tim? Let's bid.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Oh, we both bid 4. So we're going to maintain relative turn order, right? So I'll put my 4 down first and then the yellow, and so that the turn order will not change. We both pay all of our goods. These cards will then return to us, and these slide up, and that is our new initiative order with which we'll begin a new round. And that's pretty much the lowdown on how it's played. And it's really just a resource management and trying to work on that timing of when your ships are going to land and trying to get, like, we played the other night. I had a slow and then a medium and a fast all land at the same time. And man,
nice.
I had so many resources coming in. And it was just boom, 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 and
How
trying to build
embarrassing.
and upgrade everything. Yeah, no, it was.
And there's another really
fantastic.
interesting part, real quick. When you are getting further on in the game, you're not going to be able to launch slow ships from Earth because it's not
Correct.
going to make it to the moon in time, and so that route gets closed.
Mhm.
But there's still the same number of players, so something happens if you choose that route, and it's
Right.
usually a good thing,
Mhm.
and it can be a very good thing. You might choose that route specifically because you need it.
Right. Oh, a free worker. It's
Yeah.
a robot. I don't have to feed them. Because if you can't feed or house your people, because your base habitat will include 5, and then you also have to make sure you're feeding people. But if you can't give them a home and you can't feed them, you have an option of either sending them back on a ship, or you're going to lose 25 gigacredits, which is, like I said, a ton.
That's
of
a
gigacredits.
lot
It's
of
a lot.
points to
That can
lose.
cost
That's
the
a lot.
whole
I think
game.
Mike failed to feed one person.
I
that cost the
did.
game.
It
Cost me the game.
cost me. I lost
Yep.
because of that.
Yep.
Man,
so that's
Agricola in
huge.
space.
Yeah. And something else to keep in mind too is that empty slots on your ship still will give you
Yes.
1 gigacredit in return. And what's nice is there's little player aids on the back of each of your ship that tells you how much each ship can hold, whether it's going up, down, fast, medium, slow.
Yep.
It's super helpful. So yeah, I like to keep my stack that way. So when I'm grabbing my ship, I know how many things. Oh, I'm only selling 2. I could have held 5, or I could have held 3. I know that
Right.
I'm getting that much left over. So
And-
super helpful.
And near the end of the game, instead of bidding, let's say we went ahead and you bid 4, but at the end of the game,
Yeah.
your bids are actually more expensive.
Cost ramps
They
up.
expect you to
Mhm.
have money now.
Yes.
And so it might cost you 2 or even 5 times as much as you bid.
Yeah.
So be
Well,
careful.
'cause the trips up are getting more and more limited, so space is at a premium. You got to pay a higher cost.
Yep.
Yep. So that's
Alright.
pretty much the teach on that.
Yeah.
Well done, guys.
Yeah.
Why don't we get into our thoughts on the game? Bobby.
Yeah.
All right, so I called my shot and I said I think you're going to like this game. You did go over and then the next day buy a deluxe edition version.
did.
So tell us why you hate Lunar Rush.
Yeah. Man, well, I mean, they had me at dual layer boards, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dual layer player boards. I was like, okay, I'm listening. And then there were dual layered ships. Okay, I'm listening even harder now.
Uh-huh.
With both ears.
With both ears, yes. But I'm also just a big fan of like that timing, right? So you have like the 3 different speeds of the ships. So trying to time, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get both these ships to land at the same time, and then I'm like, so I want to make sure I'm bringing all the right goods because it's super expensive to make this stuff. It's free on Earth. We have lots of labor, lots of resources, so it's free down here. You just got to ship it up and wait your moment. And trying to produce that on the moon is a lot more difficult. And then just that timing of like, oh, I see Spencer's making a crystal too, but he's taking the fast shift back. If I wait another round and put it on mine on the slow ship, hopefully that cost will be up maxed out at the 48, and I'll be able to get more of a premium price for my bits that I'm selling. And just all that timing that you're trying to do, you know, the bidding and everything, it all just came together really well. And then like I think these bits are super nice. I mean, it was the first time he was unboxing the deluxe version, and he's like, man, it's the first time I'm seeing the deluxe one. This is really nice.
Oh,
You know?
nice.
It's like, I'm looking at him like, yeah, I like that too. And there's the gloss on those gold cards
They look great.
They look super pretty. Yeah. And yeah, I was a fan. I played it. I enjoyed that little engine builder here where I'm working on my Tableau, trying to get as many actions as I can, bringing more workers to the planet, but make sure I can feed them. You know, oh, this guy, I don't have any food for you. You're going on the next boat out of here. You know, setting them down so you don't have to feed them. Like, yeah, it was a good time. So
Spencer.
Yeah, I got to demo this one at Gen Con and really liked it. There's a lot going on, which lends itself to really cool strategies, and it balances itself really well. For instance, when we played last night or Friday, I kept losing on the bids. I think I lost every single bid. I think I won the game. I think it was pretty close.
It was very close.
Very close.
Yeah, the 3 of us were within like 10 points of each other.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it came down to just like if I hadn't done one thing, I would have lost the game.
Yep.
And if
yet-
Mike had done one thing,
And Mike
you
had done
would have
You would have
lost
won the game. Yeah.
You would
like
have lost the
feed
game.
somebody.
Fed my guy.
Yeah.
And I think you were like 1 food away. Yeah.
I
So,
was.
But if you start off in the beginning of the game, they kept giving me the fast launch because I can only get one thing up there. But I kept putting people up there, and that gave me more options. And so, although I had to start feeding him right away, it meant I had a faster, head
Bigger
start.
workforce.
Yeah. By the time they caught up, but then they had this influx of stuff, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to catch up now."
Yeah.
And when you have these gold ones, you can start looking at each other going, which one's he going for?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And can I outpace
They're
him?
super strong.
Yeah, and at
Because
one
it costs
point,
like 6 or 7 resources each, right?
Yeah,
oh,
at
in
least.
fact,
At
that
least.
one that you grabbed might be the most expensive one I've seen. It involves having a gold
Mm.
bar.
Eight, yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm looking at one right now that takes 9 resources.
Yeah,
What is
Oh,
that?
wow.
but they
yeah.
are
6, 7,
amazingly powerful. Yeah, I liked a lot about this game.
Yeah.
Mike, what'd you think?
What they said.
Yeah.
No, this game's great. I don't know if there's a whole lot I can add that hasn't been said, but for me personally, I really enjoy economic games, especially ones that have resource conversion and a variable market. I like when I'm competing to sell goods in a market where it's fluctuating throughout the game and I have to time the selling of my goods at the right time. This one adds 2 things to that. One, all of the markets are unique. There's multiple of them. So it's not just the more you sell, the more you get for them. And they're worth less to the next person that sell. Like you can see on that, it's like a bell curve. It's like, well, the next person actually gets more. And then the
Right.
third person gets a little more. Then it starts to go down. And that's unique. But also, yeah, here's all the variable markets, which just add tons of replayability, in my opinion.
Yeah, based on the year too, which
Yeah,
I
I
really
love
enjoy.
that.
The way
So
they
Good
I
theme.
like how these markets are unique and nothing like any other game I've seen. Plus, you add this extra variable layer here of timing when your stuff is available to you. It feels so satisfying when you're able to time out all that stuff coming to you at the exact time you need it, and you're selling stuff at peak value. Man, this game really sings for me. I liked it a lot. I went a different strategy where I was able to get one of my refineries out
Oh, yeah.
really early.
Yeah.
Super early.
And I was
And scared the
pumping
pants off of
out
us.
the
Gold bars.
the lunarium ore way before everybody else, but I never got to where I was making any lunathus gems.
Right.
You guys were pumping those out. Meanwhile, I'm just churning tons of the ore, and I never got to that point. The other mistake I made was that I didn't upgrade my basic, the one that allows you to hold more workers.
Habitation.
I didn't do that till
Well, you
very
weren't feeding
late.
them anyways.
So I was just, well, as soon as I increased it, I couldn't feed them. So I was not set up to feed all the extra workers I made or I added when I
That
could actually
balance is
house
really
them.
important.
So I goofed up that balance a bit. But that 25-point GC card, I was the
Man.
one that was able to build that one, and I used it a couple times, and that felt really good. So, yeah, this game does a lot of things that I like, and it does it very well.
Yeah, I mean the thing that interested me about this game is the whole like timing mechanic that you were just talking about with getting ships up, bringing them back. How do you make all of that work to where it's all going to fire, right? And you can take advantage of this economy. Another thing, well, this I just haven't like Barrage kind of has a similar vibe, but to me this is like that with half the time.
Yeah.
And
Much easier access, like low access.
easier to learn.
Yeah.
I do feel like this game is going to skew a little heavier, especially for newer players.
Sure.
But if somebody's really excited about the theme, I think they could get in as long as they don't expect to be great at it on their first play, could still have a really good time. And that's not always a knock because not every
A
game,
lot of games, you're not going to be great your first time.
not
through.
every game you have to be able to teach like a brand new person, you know, to board games too. But yeah, the way that all of this works and the weird, like, I'm just impressed at how the balance of it all seems to jive so well. And was just really impressed with that. I love the way that depending on where your ship is, how much they can carry back or up with them, like those kind of things. I appreciate the economy of having to pay, you know, feed your workers, things like that. It's like Agricola, but fun in that way. And again, a very satisfying engine builder because when you get those combos to start firing off, wow. And then if you're having a bad game and it's not going great for you and you plan poorly, you're done in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You know, so unlike some other games where it's been like a 3-hour slog and I'm out of it in the first 20, 30 minutes, I don't have, you know,
2 hours of misery to look forward to.
2 hours of misery to look forward to. It's going to be done relatively quick. And I do feel like that there are some high scoring opportunities that you could still swing back a lot of points in your direction with just a really well-timed turn. So I feel like you're still in it. And I appreciated all those things about the game.
Yeah, because all of these upgrades give you points as well, and those
Yeah.
can be a lot of points when they add up.
Well, and again, if you can at least pull off an action that's going to give you 25 galactic credits, you know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
well, yeah.
Yeah, if you get stuck like, oh, I've had these down launches every time, I'm only bringing one item back every time, that kind of sucks. Well, even, your stuff stuck on the planet is still going to be worth money at the end.
Right.
So as long as you're just producing a bunch of stuff, you're going to get those giga credits.
And to your point about the game not being too long, it says 45 to 75 minutes on the box. Our learning game with 4 players probably took just under an hour and a half.
Yeah, and that was with
That was
Spencer.
a learning game with Spencer.
We
So-
kid because we love, but
Yeah.
I mean, seriously though, that's a really good indicator, right? That game moves.
Yep.
Sorry, Mike, please continue.
No, it doesn't overstay its welcome. You get a lot of game in here for
Right.
75 to 90 minutes.
Yes.
You really do.
And I also just want to say that I absolutely love the graphic design of this board.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, all of this looks great anyways, but like this board is so busy. And I mean that in a positive way. Because if you look in the background, you see little ships flying around,
Right.
there's satellites cruising around, but it does it in a way where the paths are all very clear and you understand exactly where everything is going. But you can kind of like, while we're waiting, like, oh, okay, so this is doing over here and that, like that ship's doing over that. I mean, it's just very appealing to look at. And, and the deluxe edition, holy smokes, right? The deluxe edition looks
gold
great.
foil cards. that
Good.
I'm just making sure we get plenty of for the top-down camera. They are
Good
just
God, they are
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the screen over here as I set them down, and they just pop off the screen. They're
The
great.
toddler
Gosh, yeah.
moon train,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
And if you're getting really
That's one
good at this
of one
game, and there's a couple of other ways to change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you're experienced at it, there's challenge cards that you could give to the people who are experienced to try to like balance the game out a little bit. And if you are teaching super beginner people, there are beginner cards, and gives you like so turn 1 through 5. If you don't worry about trying to get gold cards, which are super hard to do at the beginning anyway, we're going to give you some free points. If by turn 2 you've managed to upgrade one of these things over here, we're going to get you some points. If by turn 3 you do this, we're going to get you some points. And that's just a way for beginner people to kind of like focus their
It's
resources,
a
a
nice
direction to go.
Fence posts, right?
Yeah.
Like, here you go. Let's
Yeah.
guide you.
Here's things you should be trying to do by this turn.
And they have these factions which give you some new thing that you have to deal with. Not always good or
Right.
bad.
Yeah.
And it's just another challenge. And they also have these moon wonders we never got around to playing
Correct.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, these
So
just
much.
increase the difficulty. Like this one is a 3-star challenge, which is the maximum. They go to 1 to 3. At the start of the game, start with only 1 astronaut on the moon and 9 astronauts on Earth.
Ouch.
That's tough.
That is tough.
You got to get all them guys up there.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
is tough.
Oh,
So that
load
is
'em
a
up.
built-in handicap for experienced players because experience will help a lot in this game.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you know how that timing works.
Yeah.
And this could be a game that could suffer from like, oh, I'm playing with
From me
guys that
teaching.
have played this 20 times.
Not with that card.
And I played it twice. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, here, take this.
Yeah.
And
Even it out a little bit.
Even it out a little bit.
Mhm.
And then the new players can still feel very effective and feel like they've got a chance.
I feel like
Yeah.
these help the replayability a lot too. It just gives you something different to think about
Yeah.
each time you play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. All right, guys, let's give this bad boy a rating. Mike, how do we rate games here at the Board Game Rundown?
We each give it a score from 1 to 10. We're going to average them together and give you, the people at home, just one score. That's the rundown score. You can get that score on BGG or Discord or wherever you may want it.
At your local
Because
market.
that's what we do, and we always have. One person has to explain it even. We've always done it that way. It's
What-
cool like that.
About people on the moon, Mike. Because you said people at home. What about people on the moon? What's the score work for them?
That
Got him.
score is astronomical.
Whoa!
It's so high. It has its own rating system
Out of
that
this
goes
world.
up to 20.
Out of this world.
It's a higher score.
Well done, sir.
Oh,
Well done.
lunatic.
I
All
don't
right.
know if you realize the gravity of our score.
Look,
Actually,
I'm
there isn't any.
gonna rush to get to Bob's score.
Please do.
All right, Bobby, what do you give this bad boy?
Well, I mean, it was no secret, right? We talked about it earlier. I really enjoyed this game. I think like the standard version, like depending on what's changed, I'm not sure, it's probably gonna only be an 8. But with this deluxe and these bits, the way it is, it's an 8.5 for me. Like even like these red and the green people are easy. Although the ships are a little difficult to tell apart, but I know which one's mine. It's 8.5 for me.
Nice, Spencer.
I think I'm going to give this one a 9.
Nice.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe higher, maybe with more plays, but right now it is a 9.
Nice. All right, Mike.
Yeah, I just thought of this, Bob. They could have like maybe made the ships a different
It's dual
shape
layer.
or something.
It's
So
2 layers.
that-
Just saved it.
Yeah, I was just thinking to help those that are colorblind.
Right, or change the border of it so it's easier to see. Once you fill
Yeah.
it up with stuff, it makes it a little difficult to see which ship it is. But I know where I put mine at. And the biggest thing comes into like, wait, whose was this? If it's not mine, because I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't
Or
pay
even
attention.
just a symbol on the top of the ships, something
Yeah.
like
That's
that.
true.
Right,
All
'cause they
come
do
with
have-
their own symbol.
Correct.
Yeah, that symbol on the ships would
Yeah.
help for sure.
And he
I
did
could
say
see
that after we pointed that out to him during the demo. He's like, "Oh yeah, that was a missed opportunity."
So, no, I think this game is great, though. I like these economic games. I didn't even talk about the bidding system that I enjoy a lot. I really like trying to figure out what other people are due. And if I can save a little money and go last and get an action that's still beneficial to me, the timing's fantastic. This is an 8.5 for me. I'm really, really impressed with this. Economic games that play in an hour and a half or less, sign me up for those like every time.
Yeah.
Sure. I guess I'm the party pooper here because I'm going to give it an 8. I think it's a great game. But it does everything that it does very well. It's very impressive. I haven't spent as much time with it as these guys. My score would probably go up with more plays. But an 8 is definitely the floor
Right.
for me. Like, again, because it doesn't overstay its welcome, even if I was playing and having a bad game, it's not going to ruin it for me because it's done relatively quickly. And then I'll be ready to play it again next time and just do a little better or make Bob
Try something different.
try a challenge card.
Yeah.
But yeah, and again, you can like change up your strategy and try different things, and go for points in different ways.
Yeah.
It's a great game. Absolutely great game.
But that shows because if you took our scores and you're averaging them together, boop, 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 8.5. That's
at
a
that.
pretty awesome score.
Look at that. And yeah, so Bob, I'm glad you bought this.
Me too.
And thank you for the people from Dead Alive Games for
Yeah.
coming in our booth and doing a demo.
Yep.
I already knew that this was a good game, so it didn't matter. Like I was like, look, I know this is good. I think you guys are gonna like it. You should sit in on it because I think you weren't even scheduled to work in the booth at that
No,
point
I
in
wasn't.
time.
Yeah, that was just extra.
And I was just like, Bob,
Sit down and check this out.
I think you're gonna like it.
Mhm.
And it felt good to be right.
Yeah.
Felt good to be right. All right, guys, if you found this video helpful in any way, please like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring the bell so you get notifications when we're doing new videos. And then also, we just finished a really big giveaway. We're going to be doing more, but like the really big ones are going to start getting tied to our Patreon. So if you're able and inclined to support the channel in that way, we do have a Patreon, which you are more than welcome to go and check out. It is not required, but it is appreciated. Even just leaving us a comment. What do you think of Lunar Rush? Did you get to see it at Gen Con? Did you see it at Origins? Let us know. Let's hear your thoughts. Or if you played it, what's your score? I'd love to hear that. The interaction is great for us, and we really appreciate that. Anything else before we sign off then, boys?
I
Nope.
don't think so.
All right. For the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
The Man on the Moon.
Feed your workers.